Every leap in American history has needed breakthrough energy.
Ignition, liftoff.
Now, AI is here, and Chevron is working to power it. We're aiming to develop multi-gigawatt power plants near data centers, designed with future pathways to lower carbon intensity. AI gets the power it needs, communities get the jobs, and the grid stays strong. Powering AI today builds America's next superpower.
Every successful business evolves. And to keep up, you need a bank relationship that evolves too. When you collaborate with KeyBank, you don't get one-size-fits-all solutions. Our expansive team of experts across industry verticals wouldn't be here if you did. Always ready with bespoke solutions for your biggest challenges and opportunities. We know all businesses are different, and that's why we approach business differently. Reimagine business as usual. KeyBank opens doors. Learn more at key.com/B2B.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And a good morning to all of you. I am starting with Mamdani, the incoming socialist mayor of New York City, all but standing by his pledge to enforce the international arrest warrant against Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu if Netanyahu steps 1 foot in New York City, even if it's during a visit to the UN. Dominic Carter here with you. Let's go ahead and open up the phone lines right now. 800-848-9222. Plus, the last couple of days I've been talking about a psychotherapist who says that 75% of the patients he sees have a deep hatred for President Trump and are hyper fixated on him. But I'm starting with one of the reasons why I voted for President Trump. I love his boldness, his decisiveness. He's going to make a decision. You may not always agree with him, but I'd say 95% of the time I do. President Trump says he knows the addresses of every drug lord, and he would be proud, the president, in his own words you're about to hear, to conduct strikes in Mexico and Colombia. And folks, that's one of the main reasons why I voted for Trump.
Are you planning on also potentially launching strikes in Mexico or putting American troops or American personnel into Mexico to deal with it?
Would I launch strikes in Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me. I've been speaking to Mexico. They know how I stand. We're losing hundreds of thousands of people to drugs. So now we've stopped the waterways, but we know every route. We know every route. We know the addresses of every drug lord. We know their address. We know their front door. We know everything about every one of them. They're killing our people. That's like a war. Would I do it? I'd be proud to. I'd probably go into Congress and say, hey, and you know what? The Democrats and the Republicans would both agree, unless they're crazy. Exactly how they get their things here, how they get the drugs here, fentanyl, cocaine. Colombia has cocaine factories where they make cocaine. Would I knock out those factories? I would be proud to do it personally. I didn't say I'm doing it, but I would be proud to do it because we're going to save millions of lives by doing it.
And that's what it's about, saving American lives. I think about states like Vermont and so on, and the young people, in particular, the young ladies that are strung out on drugs. And you know what comes along with that. We're talking about good American kids. In this one case, I'm talking about young ladies that have never experienced something like this before. And what often comes with drugs addiction when it comes to women? Prostitution, selling their bodies, the downward spiral for not just the individual, but the entire family. So President Trump is dead on when he says that he would be proud to bomb the houses of these drug lords. And it is about time that they be put in deep check, right? They're running around the entire world doing what they want to do. And they know that when Trump says it, he's not joking around. Just look at the ships trying to make it to the coastline that the administration, the Department of War, has already taken out. Now to that psychotherapist. I want you folks to listen carefully to what he says. His name is Jonathan Alpert. And again, the phone lines are now open. Dominic Carter here with you, 800-848-9222. And Alpert says 75% of the patients that he sees have a deep hatred for Trump and are hyper fixated on him.
First of all, identify it for us. You're in a session and you pick up on what?
Well, Harris, it doesn't take long for me to pick up on this. People are obsessed with Trump. They're fixated. They're hyper fixated on Trump. And they talk about some of the features of this disorder. They can't sleep. They feel traumatized by Mr. Trump. They feel restless. I had one patient who said she couldn't enjoy a vacation because anytime she saw Trump in the news or on her device, she felt triggered. So this is a profound pathology, and I would even go so far as to call it the defining pathology of our time.
These people come to you for the things that you described. Can't sleep, traumatized, perhaps depression. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But at first, you are there to treat an illness, a disorder of some kind. And what you figure out is the trigger.
Well, and Trump is the trigger for many of these people. And to be that fixated on a figure, on a person, it's simply not healthy. And our country has strayed so far away from where we once were. If you look at in the 80s when President Reagan was shot, people were united. He famously said, I hope you're all Republicans, to the surgeons. And the response was, today, Mr. President, we're all Republicans. But our country has lost that. We've strayed so far from that unity.
Mm-hmm. And what do you see? Because you told me off camera 3/4 of your patient load right now has what you're calling this TDS.
Well, 3/4 of my patients will present with a lot of these symptoms, and within probably 5 minutes of seeing me, their hatred for Trump comes up. So if you're that hyper-focused on Trump, that's a real issue, and it's worth being treated.
I'm at a loss of words. How could you have Trump derangement syndrome when the man is curing the country? The man is helping the country. But again, folks, and the best example I can give is in my own family. Some members of my own family are not fans of President Trump. And when you talk to them about it, what they will say is they don't like his personality, the way he does things. And then I'll push back and say, well, how about the fact that President Biden almost drove the entire country over the cliff the last 4 years? Yeah, but Biden was nice. Are you serious? So it's okay as long as they like your personality that you ruin the country? 800-848-9222. I want to begin with some of your telephone calls. I see Jim in Connecticut is standing by amongst the calls, but I also want you to hear this because this audio is spot on, right? And I'm not one for spirits and so on, but I want you to listen to what this individual has to say about what is going on in America. You look at, no offense to my friends in the transgender community, but that what used to be a side issue is now mainstream. And Democrats are pushing for transgenders to have every right that biological women have. Come on, folks, at the end of the day now, let's stop this nonsense. They're not women. I'm sorry. They're not women. And just the other way around, it goes both ways. Listen, I want you to listen to this, and then we'll start with some of your telephone calls.
Listen, folks, at this point, you can tell that there is some type of psychotic spirit that has taken over our country. Folks are mad that the president is doing what a president is supposed to do. You can tell that we haven't had real leadership, because when real leadership comes along, folks don't know how to handle it. A president's job is to protect his country from foreign and domestic threats. A president's job is to make sure the country is profitable. The president's job is to make sure its country's citizens can live in peace and prosperity. That's what our president is doing. But because we haven't had leadership in so long, people don't know how to handle this. I believe this thing really started. I know it started in the 60s when they had already had the plan to destroy America. But Barack Obama, y'all, he did a number on this country. He used the black man's mannerisms to charm the world. He learned the coolness of the black man. I'm telling you, he learned how to speak eloquently. He came with speeches about hope and change and captivated the world. And right in front of our eyes, blindly, we saw this man usher in all kind of abominations. And then Joe and Kamala patted these abominations on the back. Now we got boys really thinking they can be girls and girls thinking they can be boys. Now we have kids using kitty litter in the school because they identify as animals and that's how they use the restroom. We have kids being castrated at an early age by psychotic parents and doctors. And we have crazy people in the schools indoctrinating children. This is where we are.
And it is where we are. You can't deny it. 800-848-9222. Line 1, Jim, Connecticut. Good morning, Jim. What's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, I love your show. Listening to you from I-95. Right in Darien, shooting up 95 toward.
So wait, Jim. Is there any traffic right now in 95? It shouldn't be, right?
It's like it's flowing. This is like a dream, you know. This is like.
Hey Jim, do you know what? So I'm up 95 a lot, going to Rhode Island to see my daughter in the state of Rhode Island, and this is the time that I like to travel because I have zero patience, zero.
Yes.
And I like to just be out in the nighttime with just me and the state troopers and the deer. And hopefully I'm not going too fast and I can get where I'm going and I can think and I can focus. Go right ahead, Jim.
Exactly, especially when you get up like past Guilford, Connecticut. You can pump it up to 65, and that means 70, 75.
Exactly.
Which is what I like about it. I just wanted to say, you know, I support anything, pretty much anything and everything that Donald Trump is doing. I'm concerned about the $2,000 allowance or whatever you want to call it, whatever they call it, that he's planning to give out to some individuals living, you know, earning over under $100,000. You know, I have some concerns about that. But that said, I just want to switch gears, if I may, for a moment. What about this story I've been hearing about? And I'm surprised we're not hearing more about.
Wait,
yes,
Jim. I hate to step in, and I know you're traveling. If you don't mind, because I've got to take a hard break. If you don't mind, I want to listen to your story, what you're about to say, but I got to take a break. So if you can hold, please do so. I've got to do one small segment, and then I'm coming right back to you. It is time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This shrimp and coconut sauce is divine. What's your secret?
Goya coconut milk.
How does it taste so good?
It's all in that real coconut flavor and that rich, creamy texture.
What about thickeners and added sugars?
None. Just smooth, coconutty goodness.
What can I make with it?
From curries to sweet treats like coconut flan, the possibilities are endless.
Goya coconut milk. Take your cooking to the next level. No question about it. Find it in the Goya section of your local grocery store. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
Men need a store that has the right thing for their thing. Like a Kenneth Cole suit made with Choflex fabric to keep them cool at their cousin-in-law's third wedding in the middle of July. Whatever the thing, Men's Warehouse has the clothes for it. Love the way you look, Men's Warehouse.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This is a real good story about Bronx and his dad, Ryan. Real United Airlines customers.
We were returning home, and one of the flight attendants asked Bronx if he wanted to see the flight deck and meet Captain Andrew.
I got to sit in the driver's seat.
I grew up in an aviation family, and seeing Bronx kind of reminded me of myself when I was that age.
That's Andrew, a real United pilot.
These small interactions can shape a kid's future.
It felt like I was the captain.
Allowing my son to see the flight deck will stick with us forever.
That's how good leads the way.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back. Let's go back to our friend Jim driving on 95 in Connecticut. Jim, all right, let's get to your point, what you wanted to talk about.
Thank you, Dominic. Jimmy Pro here. Hey, I was sitting in a restaurant tonight down in Old Greenwich, Bosco, having dinner, and there's this buzz going around the bar that 120 plus missing children were found in Florida within like the last 8 to 10 hours. Can you speak to that? I'm sorry to be off point. And yes, I do agree that Trump should bomb the houses of the drug lords.
To be honest with you, Jim, I have no problem with calls that are off point. They just have to flow and make sense. You know, people will call up and say, well, in Zimbabwe, that's off point. So I don't have the facts about this, but the Trump administration, I will look it up and I can reference this tomorrow. I don't like to fib to you folks. I try and be as honest as I can. When I don't know something, I'm confident enough to say I don't know it. And so I have people in my business say, no. Never admit that you don't know something. No, I think it's refreshing to be honest and tell you I just don't know. So I have to look it up and investigate it. But I do know the Trump administration has made a priority of finding missing children, in particular as it relates to illegals. Is that what you're referring to, or you're talking about American children?
Perhaps it could be illegals. It could be American children. I didn't get into the depth and breadth of the conversation, but I did go up. I went up on Google and YouTube but I went into some of the major newspapers, in the tri-state area, et cetera, and I didn't see anyone speaking to it. So I was just wondering what, if anything, you know about it. And yes, Trump should bomb the homes of the drug lords. I agree. It's Jimmy Pro. Hi, thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. So Jimmy and I agree that this president is no joke, and you need to throw these drug lords on the defensive because they think everything is a big joke. And once you have definitive information, you got to have the goods, though. You got to have the goods. And thank you for the call, Jim. And be careful driving in Connecticut. Sometimes, though, folks, on 95, the road can be lonely, but that's the way I like it. I don't know if I'm a loner. I just like it that way. And, before I get to anything else, I want to know from you folks, does anybody have an idea of how to make the clock stop? Tick tock, tick tock. I have not been able to make the clock stop lately. My commitments are increasing more and more and more and more. And there's just not enough time in the day. So what am I talking about? So today, and I'm going to reference this a bit later, was a big day, news conference held by the owner of this network, the Red Apple Audio Networks, John Catsimatidis, Margot Catsimatidis, about New York's incoming mayor, a power panel of experts, and every television station in New York was here covering the event. Then I had to bolt up to the Bronx, New York, to go pick up a car because my wife got into a fender bender, and then I had to come back, and then I had to pick her up, and then get a nap in between. I can't make the day slow down. So today, for example, right, I've got to go meet with a client. So I won't get home until about get to sleep until about 3 a.m. Got to meet with a client, new advertiser for the program, do the 3 p.m. show. I promised the good folks at HBO that I'd come to their screening of October 7th. Some of the families, the Jewish families that were devastated, somehow get a nap and then get ready for the midnight show. I've got to make the clock stop. We're coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. New players, new games, new rules. Squid Game, The Challenge returns for a gripping second season. 456 contestants from all walks of life, competing in the ultimate test of strategy, alliances, and endurance. For a life-changing prize of $4.56 million. With stakes this high, why make friends when you can make millions? Catch up on the latest episodes, now playing only on Netflix.
This episode is brought to you by Marqeta. When it comes to your payments provider, you can't afford to compromise. Marqeta's modern payment solutions flex with your business without the trade-offs. Stable and agile, secure and innovative, scalable and configurable. If they say you can't have it all, don't believe them. Your business demands more. Choose a payments provider that delivers more. Choose Marqeta. Visit marqeta.com/Spotify to learn more.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... there, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
I use Shipt same-day delivery to stay connected with my sister during the holidays. She lives across the country. Shipt has tons of stores to order from. Groceries from Albertsons, crafts from Michael's, even pet supplies from PetSmart. The list goes on. So when we have long-distance movie nights, I turn to Shipt to get face masks, snacks, and everything else we need delivered to her and to me same day. Download the app or visit Shipt.com. That's SHIPT.com.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
The world we live in. New York's incoming mayor, Mamdani, threatening to arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he steps 1 foot in New York City. 1 foot. How is that going to work? You have a moderate police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, who's doing an outstanding job. You think she's going to go for something like that? Do you think President Trump is going to accept the mayor of New York trying to arrest Netanyahu? What about his State Department security? You think they're going to stand by and the Israeli security with him and say, oh, yeah, let these NYPD officers put the cuffs on the Prime Minister of Israel? It's nonsense. But I am concerned, folks, about tonight. I'm concerned about tonight. The good people of HBO have invited me to a special screening. And over the years, I've been to maybe 4 or 5 of their special screenings. One of those movies, the one about my business, the newscasters, the comedy. It was me, Brian Williams, the African-American anchor that just retired, a number of us. I forgot the name of the movie, but the one with the comedian, about the news business and so on, it'll come to me at some point. So I'll be at HBO tonight, and I'm in between shows. And folks, I guess I'm getting older because I have to get a nap somewhere in between them so I can get through the midnight show. And all of this is because I'm trying to keep up with our billionaire owners, their schedules, Margot and John Catsimatidis, and it's impossible. I don't know how they do it. They go from 6 a.m., if not earlier, straight through to 2 a.m. I don't know how they do it. And I'm trying to keep up with their schedules, but I just can't do it. Does any of you have an idea how to slow down the clock? I just can't slow it down these days. And my day starts out in just a few hours, meeting with a advertiser that's new to the show in I believe in Woodbridge, New Jersey, about an hour from here, give or take. I don't even know how to get to Woodbridge, but that's how my day starts. And I'm concerned because HBO sometimes can be very graphic. And so I'll have much more on this throughout the week, plus interviews with some of the people that are part of the documentary. I'm concerned. I really am concerned about what I'm going to see at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight as it relates to October 7th and the horrific attacks on the Jewish people of Israel that were minding their business when these animals of Hamas attacked them, raped their women, raped elderly women, burned children, burned people, horrific things. And this documentary, one of the people that were attacked, they're the subject of this documentary. So I'm going into this thing tonight, and I don't know what to expect. How do I deal with it? If you have any ideas, give me a call. And if you have any ideas how I can slow down the clock, I need to slow down the clock these days. 800-848-9222. But Mamdani, the incoming mayor of New York. So I want you folks to think about this for a second, right? So Mamdani is promising he wants to free the prisoners. He wants, the police are too much. Don't arrest them. Oh, pat him on the head. But when it comes to Netanyahu, he says if Netanyahu steps foot in New York, he'll be arrested. Think about that. Think about that. About whether the incoming mayor is absolutely anti-Semitic. Think about that. So he appeared on WABC TV, their Sunday morning program. And the incoming mayor of all the people, of 8.5 million New Yorkers, and by proxy, if you will, a spokesman for America, went on television to stand by his campaign pledge, essentially, that if Netanyahu steps foot in New York, the NYPD will arrest him.
You said you would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu based on the 2024 International Court Arrest Warrant. Next UN General Assembly, as mayor, would you do that?
So I've said time and again that I believe this is a city of international law, and being a city of international law means looking to uphold international law, and that means upholding the warrants from the International Criminal Court, whether they're for Benjamin Netanyahu or Vladimir Putin. I think that that's critically important to showcase our values, and unlike Donald Trump, I'm someone who looks to exist within the confines of the laws that we have. So I will look to exhaust every legal possibility, not to create my own laws to do so.
On the other hand, this is also a world event. Does that not count a little bit?
Well, I think we are a global city, but I also think what New Yorkers are looking for is consistency in the way in which we talk about our values and follow through on them. And that's why I think these warrants from the International Criminal Court, they are worth fully exploring every legal possibility to actually follow through on.
Phony. The International Criminal Court, for the most part, the U.S. does not acknowledge. But he wants to acknowledge it, and he wants to carry it out in this case because it's Netanyahu. He never met a criminal that he didn't want to let go, but he wants to arrest Netanyahu. Now think about that, folks. Think about that. We see your telephone calls. I'm about to go to Kevin in Manhattan on line 4. But I mentioned something that we did earlier, technically yesterday now, in terms of the owner of this network, Mr. Catsimatidis, the Red Apple Audio Network, and it was sponsored by him, Mrs. Catsimatidis, and a roundtable of major policymakers throughout the city. and every TV station in town was here at the station covering this event. One of the people on the panel happened to be retired NYPD Chief John Chell. And John Chell makes the point, right? So Mamdani wants to keep the police force at the level where it is now. It's understaffed right now. You can't do the job right now. And so Chief Chell is noting here that the NYPD is understaffed and that they need more cops to get the job done.
Well, look, the NYPD is understaffed. I'm telling you right now, the cops are tired. They're tired, they're working hard. Their quality of life within their personal lives is hurting because they have to make up for the shortfall. We had 40,000 cops years ago. We're down to about 34. And if you listen to the rhetoric now, you got to be real careful here. I want to maintain current staffing levels. What does that mean? Could we have 4,000 cops that could leave in January if they choose? Not saying it's going to happen. If they choose. So if we go to 34 to 30, is that maintaining current staff levels? We will not be able to survive. This city is 24/7, 365. It moves all over the place, and the cops are more things are being demanded on them than ever before. Calls for service, quality of life, like John mentioned. Coming out 3 years worth of heavy protest, 250,000 migrants fighting crime, understaffed. They're tired. I tell you what, if the mayor-elect wants to send a strong signal, give them the contract they deserve. Make sure your rhetoric is on point, and those men and women who took an oath to the city will go out there and do their job.
And so the earlier program, we heard from Mr. Catsimatidis himself. Right now, it's time for you to be heard. Let's go back to your telephone calls on a number of topics. Let's go to line 4, Kevin in Manhattan. Good morning, Kevin. What's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic. The thing is, like, the IRA, if the IRA had attacked women and children, the Irish would not have supported that. Because that, we would have said, no, you can't.
Okay, wait, Kevin, you're losing me. What's the point you're trying to make here?
You were just talking about the support for the attack on October 7th. The difference between us and them is that the Irish would have said that's wrong. That's never. Okay. That's not resistance. Rape is not resistance. Killing kids is not resistance, right? So you can mention that tonight because that's the difference between what these Muslims are doing. They're trying to say that's resistance, and the IRA would not have done that. We would not have.
Let's not broad brush an entire group. You said Muslims. In this case, we're talking about Palestine. We're talking about Hamas. Yeah. We're talking about Hamas.
I know. I work with Muslims, and they openly support that. But here's the thing I wanted to say. I listen to you from the beginning every night, but tonight I came in late. You were playing that lady. She was talking about all the damage the liberals did to the,
Yes.
I don't know who she was, but I felt what I wanted to say was Malcolm X, he invited the far right to sit in the front row, and after Malcolm gave his separation of death speech, he invited the far right leader up on stage to speak to the all black audience of 12,000. And the message they were giving is integration would be disintegration. And that the liberals, this is what the far-right guy said, will destroy your family, your culture, everything will be wiped out by the liberals. And that's why Malcolm invited him, because he said, you remember Malcolm always used to say the liberals were worse than the conservatives. He believed it so much that he invited the far-right to deliver that in person. And
guess what, Kevin? There are a lot of things that I disagree with Malcolm X with. That's one that I agree with him on. The liberals are the worst.
Yep.
The absolute worst. Because I'm gonna be honest with you here, Kevin. From my experience as an African American, they basically pat you on the head and say, "Boy, I know what's best for you, boy. Don't think. Go sit over there, boy, and get this welfare I'm gonna give you and these food stamps." And go ahead and make 18 babies, and we got you. We got all of them. And you're going to be the example for what's wrong in the world, but we got you because don't think we know what's best for you. Kevin, I'll give you the final word before I move on.
Yeah, when I was a liberal in college, I went to college, I knew Caroline Kennedy, and I was reading Malcolm X on the steps of the law library, and I didn't know anything about him. And the guy who sold incense outside the gate said him. And, so I read the book from the Muslim guy. And I was reading it. Caroline Kennedy said, "Oh, it's my favorite book," and I said, "Yeah, it's pretty wild." But I got upset every time in the book when he used to say the liberals were worse. I thought that was ridiculous because I was your typical white liberal. But as time passed, I saw how right that was.
He's right. Kevin, thank you for the great call. Kevin making a good point. You know, folks, I've been in this game a long time. The only time, and I've said this before, the only time I've had station owners, I've worked for African-American owners, Percy Sutton. I've worked for white owners. The only time I had owners interfere and tell me what to say, and I resisted, and we would fight all the time. They wanted me to be, okay, so wait, let me backtrack. When I came into the game, the guy that wrote Primary Colors and I forget, Joel Klein. And so Jim Jensen, here in New York, they had a program called Sunday Edition. This is Jim Jensen, Channel 2 News. And Jim went through his own personal troubles, but, he was still a legendary, from along the lines of Roger Grimsby here in New York, legendary newscasters, right? And I was invited, I was told by Channel 2 News here in New York, I had never worked in television. Nobody starts in television in New York. And the people that ran Channel 2, they said to me, Dominic, you're special. And we think that you can be one of those that starts in New York on television. So they sent me out with one of their crews, and they had me do a few stories that didn't air. It was like for a tape. And then at the end of the day, they came back and they said, you're not ready. And I wasn't feeling it. They offered me the job to be on air every Sunday. And folks, this is what, 20 years ago? And it paid, I think, $650 a week. And I said, hell no, I don't want it. I was a fool. I said I didn't want it because I was mad that they didn't hire me full time. And my job was to come on every week with Joel Klein. And so I was to argue from the left. So they wanted me to argue from like what was MSNBC before MSNBC was ever around. And so the last caller is so correct because I had a job where they were so far left that they wanted me. This is now just what, maybe 7 years ago. They wanted me to be the black man on the show, not to argue my individual thoughts. They were far left liberals, but to always argue the black point of view. And I resisted that because my opinion, you can't ever put me in a box. You put me in a box, it's not going to work. Because most of my views are conservative. I am off that plantation. I talk about it all the time. The Democrat plantation. They have people blind. So yes, liberals are the absolute worst. We see all your calls. We're going to take a break. I still want somebody to give me advice on how to slow down the clock and how to deal with this HBO special screening that I'm going to at 6 p.m. tonight on October 7th, and what happened, the atrocities to the Jewish community in Israel. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Komm du noch?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
We all love a legendary comeback, and Degree Original Cool Rush is back and better than ever. Cool Rush isn't just a scent, it's a movement, a fan favorite that delivers bold, fresh vibes and all-day sweat protection. Whether you're heading to the gym, the office, or just trying to stay fresh on a long day, Cool Rush has your back. So if you haven't tried it yet, head to your local Walmart or Target and grab Degree Cool Rush, the fan favorite scent from the world's #1 antiperspirant brand.
You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, oh no. Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, this is the last one, knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe just maybe, this car needs you. Bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners, meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
I am really concerned what I'm going to see at 6 p.m. tonight, this HBO special screening, as it relates to October 7th and the atrocities committed against the great people, the Israeli people, by these animals of Hamas. Because I've long said, and I really feel this way, if it were up to me, just drop a bomb on all of them. That would mean that innocent Palestinian people would die. But if you've ever been to Israel, I've been there 3 or 4 or 5 times, and you see the good people and how they're trying to live their lives and the divisiveness that's around the country. The fact that every time you get on a public bus, I found myself profiling everybody on the bus because I didn't know who might be a suicide bomber. You go into a pizza shop, you don't know if it's going to blow up. These are all things that have happened. Terrorist attacks in Israel. Remember during the presidential campaign, and this is what sealed it for me, when President Trump went and cooked fries at McDonald's for about 40 minutes, and Kamala said she had worked at McDonald's. Yeah, right. When she was young, they couldn't find records of it. Well, the president just addressed a conference of McDonald's owners, and here's what he had to say.
I'm thrilled to be here with the men and the women who are really the heart and soul of one of the greatest, most admired, and most successful companies in the history of the world, frankly, the one and only McDonald's. I've gone there a couple of times. And I'm honored to stand before you as the very first former McDonald's fry cook ever to become president of the United States. And I actually was there for about 30 minutes, and that was 30 minutes longer than Kamala was there, right? Despite her job at McDonald's, that didn't work out too well. And the person at McDonald's that informed us off the record that she never worked there, whoever you are, we appreciate that. That was very nice.
The president, then the candidate cooking fries, I believe in Pennsylvania. Yes, Pennsylvania at a McDonald's. Joseph, line 5, Manhattan. What's on your mind, Joseph?
Slow down the clock. We're going to make numerous Dominic Carter Prime AI bots so that you will be everywhere all the time.
Hey, it's a great idea, but this is what I get for trying to keep up with our billionaire owners. I don't know how they do it every day. They don't, and Margot and John Katsimatidis, they don't ask anybody to do anything that they're not willing to do themselves, and they do it every day. I don't know how they do it, but Joseph, I'm serious. I gotta find a way to slow down the clock because I'm going into this HBO special screening, and I'm pissed off now and emotional now, and the thing hasn't even started yet. It's still 18 hours away, give or take. You know, I got to find a way, Joseph, to slow down the clock. It's just too much. It's just too much. Thank you for the great call. Let's go to line 4, Norman in Brooklyn. Norman, what's on your mind?
All right, what's on my mind? Okay, this is the way you do it. You imagine it's going to be the most horrible thing you've ever seen in your life. You go and see it, and it probably will be. And then you and I will talk in the next few days about the alligators or bears or whatever creature is driving you up the wall. And we'll have a good laugh, me, you, and Blaze.
Right. Well, but the problem is Norman, these atrocities against the Jewish community, no one should have to go through this.
No.
And so I'm almost afraid to go, but I promised the people at HBO that I'd be there. And I'm almost afraid to go because I know my blood is going to start boiling because God only knows what HBO is going to show us.
Well, I grew up with a mother that wouldn't talk to me about her Holocaust experiences and came out in drips and drabs. My point to you is you can live with this, Dom.
Okay.
See the movie and, just imagine it's horrible. See it and to just imagine you're just seeing it. You're not living it.
Thank you, Norman. So this is coming up at 6 p.m. tonight, HBO screening about October 7th. Folks, I'll be back on the air 3 p.m. Eastern. Have a great day. I will see you then.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.